In a recent interview with filmmaker David O. Russell, I believe he admitted that the most difficult place for him as a director was sort of being in this position where he didn't know what film he was going to make next, this sort of unknown territory. Have you ever found yourself in this position? And if so, what did you do?
Yeah, I have found myself not knowing what I should do next. I was never one of these guys, I was never one of these filmmakers, and I always envied these guys that had like this, I've got a stack of screenplays behind, I got stories for the rest of my life that I want to make. They're all ready to go. Like I was never prolific that way as a writer, and inevitably, and I'm facing it right now really, the movies that I ended up making that were more personal to me, you know, like the handful of movies like The Big Empty or La Cucaracha or Some Guy Who Kills People, one of my last movies, whenever I finished those movies, it was never like I had this thing necessarily on deck that I was burning to make. In other words, when it was done, it was almost like, what next? Or, okay, you know, I mean, I have things I want to do, but it's interesting. I think when you make a movie that's important, it's filling this space or this hole in your life or this need to figure something out. So you're dealing with it through this particular project. And then it's not like, okay, now I just have this other big thing I need to deal with, so I'll move on to the... It doesn't seem to work that way for me. So right now, I know I want to make a movie. Ryan and I want to make another movie. And we've been talking about ideas since we wrapped Some Guy Who Kills People. And there are definitely some that are more propulsive and more interesting than others, but it's not like we knew like, okay, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. It was like, I think part of it has to be about finding the thing that's necessary to make, in a way. I think the best pieces of work or art come out of something that is like personally necessary, something that you need to like deal with or figure, like I said, sort of explore. It's not even about like I want to make a movie about racism or I want to make a movie about, it's about like, this is what's going on in my life, this is what's bothering me, can I find a story that somehow articulates that? That's not an easy thing to do. If you're a journeyman director, you can just go do on to the next script, whatever it is. And like I made a movie after Some Guy Who Kills People that was totally like, well, you made that Mega Shark movie and you could do something like that and we like you and we know you can handle it, you want to do this thing, and it's like, here's a paycheck, and I'm like, yeah, I like this kind of thing, I'll do it. But it's a different thing from coming up with that thing that you need to make. You know, I have higher hopes for films that I have to make than ones that I'm hired to make, because I feel like those are that's where I can do my best stuff. So I totally understand that void, or limbo that can occur after you make a movie. I mean, look at Kubrick. And believe me, the last thing I'm doing is comparing myself to him. But what I'm saying is that there's probably a reason why he made so few movies. Is because he was carefully weighing what his next thing was going to be. Like, why am I making this thing? Because Kubrick could have made triple the amount of movies he made. He certainly would have gotten the funding. But he was, look at that, this is a guy who could have made anything. Most of us are like, okay, well, if you know, like if someone said to me now, okay, well, fuck all that, like trying to search and find what you want. I've got a bucket of money here that you can make a movie, but you got to make it next month. I'd be like, okay, I suddenly have the inspiration. I know exactly what I'm going to make. So Kubrick was in a position where he could have made any movie he wanted almost at any point. I mean, after he made Spartacus or 2001, he could make anything he wanted. People were like clamoring. And he spent years between projects because for whatever reason his process was, I've got to find the perfect thing to do. I think that may be part of the neurosis of the creative person, is trying to figure out what you're going to paint next, unless you're just brimming. I wish I was just brimming with, you know, ideas, but you know, so I think it's a different type of personality.